What would happen if you replaced every single tool in your daily workflow with artificial intelligence? Not some of them, all of them. For 7 straight days, I let AI handle my email, my scheduling, my research, my writing, my coding, and even my design work. No manual workarounds, no sneaking back to my old tools when things got hard. Pure AI, start to finish. And I tracked every single minute, every failure, and every surprise along the way. Spoiler alert, some of the results genuinely shocked me, and not always in a good way. Let's break down exactly what happened day by day, tool by tool, and figure out together whether the all-AI workflow is actually ready for real life, or whether we're all getting a little too excited a little too soon.
Day 1 started with the biggest time sink in most people's lives: email. I connected my inbox to a combination of ChatGPT's GPT-5 and Sanebox's AI filtering. The setup took about 20 minutes, which felt annoying at first, but here's the thing. Within the first hour of the experiment, the AI had already sorted 312 emails into categories that actually made sense. Newsletters in one bucket, client messages flagged as priority, internal team updates grouped by project, and the real game changer, it was drafting replies that I could approve with a single click. Now I want to be honest here. On day 1, about 30% of those drafted replies needed significant editing. The tone was sometimes too formal, sometimes too casual, and occasionally it completely misread the emotional context of a thread. But by day 3, something interesting happened. I had trained it, every edit I made was a signal, and the AI adapted. By day 5, I was approving about 80% of drafts with no changes at all. Total email time dropped from 2 hours a day to about 30 minutes. That's not a small win. That's getting back an hour and a half of my life every single day.
Day 2 was scheduling. And this is where things got genuinely exciting. I've always been someone who spends way too much time moving blocks around on a calendar, trying to find the perfect arrangement of meetings, deep work, and breaks. I handed all of that over to Motion, which is an AI-powered scheduling assistant that automatically builds your calendar based on your tasks, deadlines, and priorities. Here's how it works. You input your tasks with deadlines and estimated durations, and Motion's AI engine builds an optimal schedule in real time. If a meeting runs long, it automatically reshuffles everything else. If you add an urgent task, it finds the best slot for it without you having to manually drag things around. And honestly, this was the smoothest part of the entire experiment. It felt like having a personal assistant who never sleeps and never complains. The one catch, and there's always a catch, is that it took about 2 days of fine-tuning to get the AI to understand my preferences. It initially tried to schedule my deep work in the afternoon, which is my low-energy time. But once I told it that mornings are for focus and afternoons are for meetings, it adapted instantly. My scheduling time went from 45 minutes a day to essentially 0. I just wake up, look at the plan, and follow it.
Day 3 brought the task I was most skeptical about: research. I do a lot of research for these videos, for client projects, and for staying current in the AI space. Normally, this means dozens of browser tabs, skimming articles, taking notes, cross-referencing sources. For this experiment, I used Perplexity as my primary research tool. If you haven't used it, Perplexity is an AI-powered answer engine that searches the web in real time and synthesizes information from multiple sources with actual citations you can click. And I have to say, for the first few hours, I was blown away. I could ask a question like, what are the latest benchmarks for reasoning models in 2026, and get a synthesized answer with links to 6 different sources in about 10 seconds. Compare that to my old workflow of opening 15 tabs, reading through them, and piecing together the answer over 30 or 40 minutes. But here's where I need to be really honest with you. On day 4, I caught Perplexity citing a source that, when I clicked through, said something subtly different from what the AI claimed. It wasn't a full hallucination. The source was real, the citation was real, but the AI had slightly oversimplified a nuance that actually mattered. That taught me an important lesson. AI research is incredibly fast, but you still need to verify. Always click through on at least a few citations. Treat it like a brilliant but occasionally overconfident research assistant, not an oracle.
Day 4 was writing, and this is where I had the biggest emotional reaction of the whole experiment. I've been writing professionally for years, and I was genuinely worried that AI would make my writing skills feel obsolete. I used Claude, specifically the Sonnet 4.5 model, for all my writing tasks: blog posts, video scripts, email newsletters, and client proposals. The process was simple. I gave Claude a brief with the topic, the audience, the tone, and the key points I wanted to cover, and the drafts that came back were, honestly, better than I expected. For first drafts, they were solid, well-structured, clear, and in most cases they captured the tone I asked for. But here's the nuanced truth that nobody tells you. The AI's first draft gets you to about 70%. That last 30%, the specific examples, the personal anecdotes, the unique perspective that makes writing actually worth reading, that still has to come from you. The AI can give you a well-written generic piece, but it can't give you your voice, your experience, or your opinion. Once I accepted that framing, the workflow became incredibly powerful. Claude handles the heavy lifting of structure and draft, and I handle the soul and specificity. My writing time went from 2 hours to about 40 minutes per piece. And the quality actually went up because I had more energy to spend on the parts that matter.
Day 5 was coding. And this is where the experiment got really interesting. I used Cursor, which is an AI-powered code editor built on top of VS Code. If you code, you probably already know about it, but the experience of using it full-time for a week was eye-opening. Cursor uses AI to understand your entire code base, not just the file you're currently editing. You can ask it to implement a feature in plain English, and it will write the code across multiple files, handle imports, and even update related tests. For someone like me who handles full-stack work, this was transformative. A feature that would normally take me 3 or 4 hours, building an API endpoint, writing the front-end component, connecting them, adding error handling, I completed in about an hour. But I need to flag something important here. If you're a junior developer, there's a real risk when the AI writes your code for you. You might not understand why it works. I caught myself accepting code suggestions without fully reading them, which is a dangerous habit. The AI is an incredibly powerful pair programmer, but it should never replace understanding. My recommendation: use Cursor aggressively for productivity, but always read every line it generates and make sure you understand the logic. If you can't explain what the code does, don't ship it.
Day 6 brought the task I was least looking forward to: design work, specifically presentations. I am not a designer. Every time I need to create slides, it's a painful process of fighting with templates and never being happy with the result. So I handed this over to Gamma, an AI presentation tool that generates entire slide decks from a text prompt or an outline. And honestly, this was the most fun day of the experiment. I typed in the outline for a client pitch deck, and Gamma generated a complete 12-slide presentation in about 30 seconds. The layouts were clean, the color schemes were professional, and it even suggested relevant images for each slide. Was it perfect? No. The hierarchy on some slides was off, a few image suggestions were generic, and the transitions felt a bit template-y. But compared to where I would have started from manually, it saved me probably 2.5 hours per deck. And here's the key insight. AI design tools like Gamma are not replacing designers. They're replacing the blank page. They give you a starting point that's 80% there, and then you spend 20 minutes refining instead of 3 hours building from scratch. For non-designers especially, this is a massive quality-of-life upgrade.
So after 7 full days, here's my honest summary. Across the entire week, AI tools saved me somewhere north of 25 hours. That's not a marginal improvement, that's getting back more than 3 full work days. The areas with the biggest time savings were email management, scheduling, and research. The areas where AI added the most quality were writing first drafts and generating design starting points. But here's the pattern that emerged across every single category. The AI consistently gets you to about 70%. That first 70% is fast, it's impressive, and it saves enormous amounts of time. But that final 30%, the judgment, the nuance, the personal touch, the verification, that's still firmly human territory. The biggest genuine surprise of the week was scheduling. I expected AI to be good at writing and research, but I didn't expect a scheduling tool to practically eliminate an entire category of daily work. And the biggest letdown, research citations. The speed was incredible, but the occasional subtle misrepresentation taught me that you can never fully turn off your critical thinking. So, is the all-AI workflow ready for real life? My answer is a cautious yes. It's viable today, right now, for most knowledge workers. But only if you treat AI as a collaborator that you supervise, not a replacement that you trust blindly. Use it aggressively for the first draft, the first pass, the heavy lifting. Then bring your judgment, your experience, and your humanity to finish the job.
If this experiment was helpful, hit that subscribe button because every week I'm testing the latest AI tools, breaking down what actually works, and showing you exactly how to use them in your real workflow. Drop a comment below and tell me which task would you hand over to AI first. I read every single comment and I'll be replying to the best ones. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.